Stress is a normal part of everyday life, and most people go through some form of stress on many occasions. People tend to shrug off the effects and the symptoms, like insomnia and a fast heartbeat. Yet according to scientists and researchers, the effects of daily stress on the mind are immense, and they can lead to drastic social disorders like depression, behaviour changes and addiction. A significant question that researchers seek to answer is, does depression shrink the brain? A researcher from Yale University reported in the Journal of Biological Psychiatry that stress does seem to cause some parts of the brain to shrink. The parts of the brain that tend to shrink are important for regulating emotions and metabolism. Professor Rajita Sinha is Professor of Psychiatry and Neurobiology at Yale University School of Medicine. She and a team working with her found most of the damage to the brain is caused by cumulative stress over a period of time, rather than a single traumatic event. Professor conducted brain scans on individuals who had experienced traumatic events in their life, like a divorce, loss of home, loss of job, death of a loved one, and many other forms. These images were of the brains of 100 individuals who had voluntarily provided the information for the study. Most subjects showed a small amount of grey matter in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. This part of the brain is said to be the most vulnerable to stress. It's also the part of the brain that's charged with emotional regulation, managing cognitive actions, impulse control, and our desires. When constant and regular stress hammers at this vulnerable part of the brain, the nerve tissue tends to disappear with time due to the repeated and continuing stressful events. This makes it harder for us to resist dangerous behaviour like substance abuse, impulsive actions, and even risky events. According to the lead researcher, the chronic stress has a major part to play with the shrinkage of the certain vital part of the brain. Individuals who are under constant, regular types of stress, such as deadlines at work, pressure at home, family demands, and so on, will experience shrinkage of the key area of the brain. However, the research concludes that the brain is plastic and there's ways to recover the damage and to restore the brain after the battering effects of the chronic stress. This can be done with stress relief and stress management issues. Adrenal fatigue is a condition that results from constant continuing stress, which puts demands on the adrenal glands to secrete cortisol or stress hormone to deal with the stress until the glands become depleted. At this point, symptoms develop. One of these symptoms can be depression. With brain shrinkage possible under stress, often leading to depression, the likelihood of developing this condition increases. With too little cortisol present to counter the stress, its effects on the prefrontal cortex increase. The body's system most affected by stress, as described in the research, would be the neuroaffective system. Under the neuroendometabolic model of stress, this system deals with depression and other emotional conditions. In addition, this system is regulated by the brain, the very part of the brain that might shrink under the stress. Thus, shrinkage in this part of the brain that regulates the body's system involved in stress-related depression clearly leads to increased depression. Other research has indicated stress and major depression causes a loss of synapses between the neurons in the brain. One of the major areas affected has to do with neurons involved in cognition and emotion. Other research suggests DHA from fish oil can lead to increased brain function even after significant stress. Daily exercise can also strengthen brain cells and the connections between them. Initiating the relaxation response regularly can also counter the effects of stress on the brain and its functioning. This type of relaxation appears to alter the gene expression that's involved in inflammation. Research into the relationship of depression, stress, and the shrinkage of the brain structure is a positive step towards developing more effective interventions for depression, and any new antidepressants being developed could be made to not affect the cortisol levels to the same extent as the current medications do. To learn more about stress and depression, you can check out my many videos, like my series on balancing your neurotransmitters, on DHEA and pregnenolone supplementation to prevent the cortisol steal, on supplements like B vitamins, SAMe, saffron, St. John's wort, stacking fish oil with uridine and choline, increasing BDNF and plasticity, nootropics like Noopept, Racetems, NSI-189, microdosing lithium orotate, LSA or psilocybin, and many, many more. To book a consultation or to learn about herbs, supplements and natural treatments, check out my website.